Kansas lawmakers are considering whether to sell state property to help pay the bills.
Chris Hernandez is in the newsroom now with more. Chris.
Mark and Elizabeth, like other governments, the state of Kansas faces a huge budget crunch. When lawmakers return in January for the next session, they'll have a list of buildings and land that might be available to put on the market to try to raise some cash for the state. The Kansas Department of Transportation is one of the two biggest property owners in state government. Most of those assets are highways, of course, but a state lawmaker wonders if there are rights of way or easements available to sell off to raise money for the state.
Is this property an asset and a value to the state, or is it possibly surplus, excess, or even unused, unnecessary property?
The state has just compiled for the first time a master list of all property the state owns. It includes things like mineral rights and a fish hatchery. Right now, this list is being scrutinized for assets that might be sold. As to whether the state should sell off extra property, the Kansas Secretary of Administration, Dwayne Gosen, says it's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. But he also says whether assets are available is still an open question. A lot of state property is on university campuses. Kleb says universities aren't being targeted, but he wants to look for state buildings that are old and might be worth selling to a private owner who would renovate.
And that would be a benefit to the taxpayer versus sitting there and putting in a lot of money into some of these deteriorating buildings.
No decisions yet on where for sale signs might pop up, but that could happen sometime next year. The state of California is in the process of selling state buildings and then leasing them back from private owners. Opponents say it will provide a one-time cash infusion, but then leave the state with decades of lease payments. Kleb says Kansas lawmakers will try to avoid that kind of problem here. In the newsroom, Chris Hernandez, NBC Action News.